Hello, everybody. You are watching the main viewer. Where did Rico go? Did Rico just leave? So as soon as we went live, you guys, Rico disappeared.
Well, he's so shy.
But he'll be back shortly. So let's get into, okay, Rico's back in the waiting room, but let's just punish him a little while longer. Okay, so we've got so much going on this week. The big, amazing, incredible Nichelle Nichols convention, along with the Los Angeles Comic-Con, happened this past weekend, and we've got so much to talk about with that. Also, Alex Kurtzman is hinting about more Star Trek crossover stuff. It's getting a little exciting. So we're going to theorize and nitpick that to death. We also have a William Shatner space documentary, or Shatner in Space documentary, coming out this month, next week, I believe. Lastly, okay, we'll let Rico in so he can hear this last bit.
You sure? Okay.
I suppose.
Okay, here he comes. The people that are listening in, they're like, what's the lastly? And lastly, as Rico slowly files in, there he is. Okay, and lastly, a science fiction film that some of us may or may not have worked on has now made a 21st century top 10 list. Can you guess what that film is? But before we get into any of that, let's introduce everybody. Larry, I was going to introduce you first, but I feel like we should just go ahead and address. Hey, Rico.
Hi. So I am living proof that men cannot multitask, because once you hit the recording in progress, I thought I hit the got it button, but I hit the leave meeting button, and here we are. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Rico believes that recording is spelled with an I, not an E, but he's also a great actor, by the way. So check him out online, Rico E. Anderson. We also have somebody who knows everything about Star Trek ever, including stuff that doesn't yet exist. What's the line in Lord of the Rings? Including things that have not yet come to pass. Dr. Star Trek, Larry Nemechek.
No, I just always say I don't. No, I just know either who to ask, where to look it up, or where the bodies are buried. That's what I say.
Wow, where are they buried?
yeah.
I have a map that I will show. No,
Also, our co-host today, by the way, she's a member of the Seventh Rule team, as well as a host on Virtual TrekCon. She's also an actress, entrepreneur. She makes things with her very own hands, Melissa Longo.
Hello. I have a really short funny this time.
Oh,
okay.
Shit.
Are you ready?
Please.
Are you ready?
Oh, boy.
Okay. Blonde Borgs have the same fun.
Wait, what?
Is that a question?
No, it's just a statement. Blonde Borgs have the same fun.
Blonde Borgs?
Blonde Borgs have the same fun. Like blonde humans.
The blonde tennis player Bjorn Borg, right? That works too, right?
Oh,
you're talking blondes have more fun. The old line,
right? But
yes.
Blonde Borgs have the same fun because they're all assimilated in drones.
It's very funny.
This makes me want to go into the chat to see what people are saying, because
Anne-Marie thinks it's hilarious. So I'm going to
go back to the waiting room.
Oh, Anne-Marie says Ryan just doesn't like the joke competition. All right, it's a competition. Okay, so these two blonde women are walking
to a bar.
Blondes. They don't have to be women. Blondes. They go in. They want to go fishing. So they get in a fishing boat. They go, don't get any fish. Go to a different spot. Don't get any fish. Finally, they find a spot and they're just reeling in tons and tons of fish. And one of them says, "Dude, we totally got to come back to this place tomorrow when we want fish again." And the other one's like, "Yeah, but how are we even going to know where this spot is? It's a big lake." And the other one says, "Well, we got this can of paint. We could just mark an X on the water and then we'll be able to go to it." And the other one's like, "No, you idiot. The water is going to dissipate. It's not going to, we'll put the X on the boat." Okay. So
that was just too damn long. Sorry, I'm a little bitter
funny
today
as hell, and you
because
know it.
But Anne Marie asks, "Are they Borg?"
doesn't matter if they're Borg.
Of course they were bored. He was droning on and on.
Oh God.
Uh-huh.
I might have to accidentally leave again.
Hit that wrong button.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so let's move forward.
And you did that.
I would never. Okay, fine. Anyway, so let's move forward, everybody.
Live eject button.
So
what happened?
Let's
Rico's face.
Okay.
What
Let's
just happened?
talk about what did happen. That was weird. I guess we'll never know.
Stop cutting me off, Ryan.
Anyway, so you guys, all four of us, everybody at home, all four of us, Larry, myself, Rico, and Melissa, were at this Nichelle. We're at this Nichelle Nichols farewell convention, which was like a giant wing of the Los Angeles Comic-Con convention over the weekend. It was amazing. It was awesome. There's so much to talk about. Let's just get into it. First things first, I was not there the first day on Friday. Melissa, I don't think you were there, but Larry and Rico were there. What did we miss?
Not much.
Well, yeah. I gotta say, this was delayed from, it was supposed to be May 2020. COVID shut down. They thought it'd be a fall wave. It wasn't. And then I was starting to think it was just never going to happen. So, sad for Nichelle and her family and fans. And then they found a way to partner up with LA Comic-Con, which was great. But at the same time, it was in the cavernous convention center and people got lost trying to find it. And some of the communication wasn't the best. But if you were there, and her family, especially, and fans, and a lot of people had been fans for a long time. But Friday night, the whole thing, LA Comic-Con, and this started at 4, I think, so it wasn't a full day.
Right.
But she had been Nichelle signed over in the Indigo. They were using the Indigo Hotel 3 blocks away as their host hotel, and she signed there as a kind of a low key moment ahead of the rush of the convention. And then they had this family panel scheduled for 5 and asked me to moderate it. And I said, awesome. Because my whole thing was like, I'll kick it off and then I'm going to lean back and let these 4, 5, 6 old friends and family, like who needs to interfere with that? They'll get rolling. Yeah. It'll be great. And it did, but it just took a while. She signed long and it took a while to get everybody over there. But the crowd was very patient. And then once it get kicked off, Kyle, her son, and Marion, her sister, and a couple of people truly got lost and came in midway, some of her old friends. But anyway, that was awesome. And, learning, but it was fun. You knew once you heard it from sons and sisters and nephews and nieces that it would be something. Yeah. And it was really special. People really enjoyed it. Oh, and Herb Jefferson Herb Jefferson had studied with her in New York. He was like a half a generation behind her in New York. Our friend Boomer from Galactica. Original Galactica. Yeah. So they had him on the panel too. And a couple of the women that were a little late, but they did get there were people. She had started a foundation called the Kwanzaa Foundation. It was for women of color to network and get together in the 70s. That was the idea. And like one of them said, when do we ever, there's never more than one Black woman in a show, or any ethnic minority. It was always, back then it was like the one. So they never got to see each other. So that was a really strong way and they rattled off everybody who was in it originally. It was amazing, but
that's so cool.
Yeah. But just, yeah. And the funnest takeaway was that Nichelle was the elder of the siblings. And so the nieces and nephews that were there, she was like 10 years older than her sisters. And so then the kids coming along. So, what was it? So Kyle called her Shelly for Nichelle. So Kyle called her Shelly Mama. And so all the nieces and nephews called her Auntie Shelly Mama. Or Auntie Shelly Mama, I should say. So that was
that's so
very
cute.
Sweet family. I met all of them and yeah, they were just very sweet, very, very nice, very lovely.
And I do want to point out too, the whole thing.
Very quickly, something I missed at the beginning of this show, but Larry, you reminded me when you said Club Indigo, The seventh rule currently has an Indiegogo campaign going on right now. There are 3 days left in it.
I
so
see what you did there.
I really shouldn't forget this. This is important because there are 3 days left. So if I remember next week, oh well. But everybody check this out very quickly. Would you look at that? The initial goal was 3,000, but now we have surpassed that considerably. Wow. But there are only 3 days left. So everybody, we're trying to get to 300 backers, even just $1. Yes. $1 backers, that's three, this part is great, but we love this part too. We want new friends. So everybody check that out. You can find that in the description box below, or just type in 7th Rule Indiegogo or www.igg.me/@/T7R. Sounds simple, but that's a lot of things to type in. Just look us up.
Give and share. Give and share.
Anyway, back to the lesson at hand, Rico. Tell us about Nichelle's family.
Oh, well, I just had the opportunity to meet them when she was at the bridge taking photos with people, and that was through Thomas Supernon, who was Nichelle's who was in charge of doing Nichelle's makeup, maintaining her makeup. So it was really cool meeting them, and just I had a great opportunity to talk to them, and they were just full of love of all of what was happening with this weekend, and it was just great meeting the extension of the family of this wonderful woman. So.
Tom Supernant, you mentioned he was doing the makeup for and maintaining the makeup for Nichelle Nichols. He has also participated in Virtual TrekCon. He Rico, he made you a very, very good and believable Klingon. Yes. People are like, but which Klingon? The ones with just the goatee, the ones that are purple? No, the like the 80s to 90s. The mid 2000 Klingon. That's the kind of Klingon he was. He also made Tracy Coco, an amazing looking Cardassian as well. And he's got Emmys and stuff for all of his work in Star Trek. Gosh. Amazing guy. Amazing dude.
He is very bad.
His list of credits is so impressive. So impressive. You should look him up.
Yeah. He made Nichelle an Andorian for this convention. It was just
Yeah.
He was down for that.
Okay.
Must have missed that one. Gosh, I thought I was there.
Brian's just wanting attention.
That was the lunch break.
Yeah, that was the lunch break. Yeah.
That was for the VVIP convention. Yeah, I saw that somewhere. The VVIPs. I was like,
but no pictures were allowed. You're either there or you missed the whole thing.
You had to commit it to memory, etch it, burn it in your brain. Yeah.
Yep.
So the first day that Melissa and I missed, Rico, you and I were in constant communication. We were joined at the virtual HIP that day because I was going like this. I was going, how easy is the parking? Where do we park? I'm coming tomorrow. What's it going to be? I'm asking all the questions and expecting Rico to do all the work and scout it out. And Rico was spending an hour going, I don't know. I can't find it. I'm driving around in circles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
but did eventually find it.
It was a beast because I was calling Linda, and then Linda was calling. She was like running around like a chicken with her head cut off, and then she finally calls me back, and then she's like, "Call Gigi Edgley." She somehow found it out, and I was like, "All right." So I called Gigi. I'm like, "Gigi, what'd you do?" And she was like, "Well, you got to go here, and it's right next to the entrance, and there's a ramp." And I was like, "I've been to the ramp. The ramp is locked. There's nobody there." She's like, "There's somebody sitting right there in a security card." I'm like, "Gigi, I'm looking at the damn thing. There's nobody there. The thing is locked." So she's like, "Well, I love you, but I got to go because I got to set up. I got the baby here." And I was like, "Okay, cool. See you second. See you later." And then I think maybe 20 minutes later, I finally realized it was across the other street and there was that ramp that the lady I was already at, but the lady somehow or another didn't get it, that I had to go up that ramp. And long story long, I think it was like 45 minutes later, I finally got out. I wanted to go home because I was just discouraged.
You are not alone, sir. There was
Yeah.
confusion for a lot of people. Sirach
Yeah.
was supposed to be at a panel, and he was over in the main. He got there, but he was in the main Comic-Con. No one in the main Comic-Con, I would say, well over 47% of the people there had no idea that the Star Trek. And then it would say the Star Trek thing. I get it. You might have.
Larry never says that number by accident. That was a deliberate Star Trek drop in there.
Oh yeah,
it was Erin McDonald, who was this, the current science advisor. She was stuck up. People didn't know. Half of the crowd over there had no idea where we were. Yeah, but it happened to her effect, to Nichelle's family. It was 40 minutes getting started because they left the Indigo, and some of them didn't have direct handlers. And they couldn't find the parking. And when they did get there, they wouldn't let them in the door. We had to go down and say, yes, they're supposed to. It all worked out fine. Once we got rolling, it was wonderful.
Yeah, once we got in. But man, that was a beast.
Speaking of rolling, we were messed up on Saturday. But so here's the thing. So Melissa and I did join in for Saturday, and we cruised in at our leisure. Melissa I think she had quite a time finding parking.
Oh, I was so angry.
Mine was pretty chill. Rico, helped me out. They also, shout out to Linda Zarukas, who did an amazing job. She worked so hard, and she sent us the parking pass information, and it had a map on it. I found it very easily. I don't know what the problem was. They flagged me right in. I waved.
Sure.
Oh,
gave you a drink on the way in, right?
That's wonderful.
They got a little kink out of my neck. I was sorry.
Free Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Wow.
Free Wi-Fi. Yeah.
But we all showed up, and I think that was the kind of the big day. Sunday was also good, but it was.
I was surprised how active Sunday was. I was expecting Sunday to just do this, and there was actually a lot of
Yeah.
Right. Because usually that's how Sundays are. It's just like you get regulars, the last minute people, and you're pretty much checking out maybe a couple of hours earlier than like before the con closes.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of people with tables that were gone, but I was really shocked at how I was going to do. Well, I knew Doug Jones wasn't going to be able to make it because he was filming, but then Walter called in that morning.
I think we're skipping ahead to Sunday. I'm getting way too lost here.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
We missed the party.
Yeah, we missed the whole Saturday chunk.
Yeah.
Melissa, is there anything you'd like to share?
Sorry, I'm going all profits on you there. Okay.
About your parking experiences before we go, because I think we want to move on after that to Larry. You had a bunch of panels, I think, on Saturday, but
eventually, finally,
Yeah. Yeah, it was probably the worst parking experience that I've ever experienced. Ever.
There's world problems.
Girl problems or pro problems?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that actually when I was sitting in the car. I'm like, yes, this is first world problems, but come on already. I was ready to go home after an hour of trying to find parking.
Oh my God.
See?
Hour. Could have been longer. And then it was not easy to get in, to get my badge. And so that took another half hour to get all of that stuff done. So, the COVID part was easy. I got it. Passport, boom, done.
Yeah.
But then once we were all in, because look, downtown LA and Comic-Con is always a monster. But once we were all in, suddenly it's the happiest thing ever. And Larry, you did have some kind of panels on Saturday, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, things kept jiggling around a little bit, but that was the one that Sirach was supposed to be at. But it was that I couldn't figure out. I was just asked to do some things. I didn't really play. James Kerwin and I did a panel together, kind of a background panel. But as far as like interviewing and moderating for, guests, actors and things, I said, sure. And but Saturday, the lineup juggled, and then we pulled a couple of people in that didn't have a panel otherwise, or they missed. Chris Doohan missed out on Friday night because he couldn't
Oh, that's
anyway,
too bad.
there was the other things happening. But anyway, we had wound up having like 4 or 5 people on. And to be honest, there was a bit that I was like, what are we going to do for the hour? But it turned out that everybody had a Nichelle. I mean, I was always trying to keep it about Nichelle, at least in some form, and talk to everybody. But let's remember what the common thing here is this weekend. And everybody had it was Crystal Allen and Gary Graham and Pat Tallman and then Chris. And everybody had a Nichelle story from some angles that we started off with, which was great.
That's a Horgon statue behind you. Sorry, I shouldn't interrupt there, but there's a Horgon statue behind you, Larry.
Yeah, it's an old felt. It's some fan gave me ages ago. Yeah, it's like felt. It's like brown felt. Like it's about this thick, and yeah, it's not 3-dimensional. So you said James Kerwin was there, director of Star Trek Continues. A lot of people may know him. Crystal Allen was there. She played an Orion in Enterprise. Is that correct? Right.
And
then she was in Skies of Gods and Men.
Gods and Men, right?
And Gary was in that, and Nichelle was in that. Yeah, Tim Russ was supposed to be with us, but he had to cut it short, and he came in for the evening. But
and everybody knows Gary Graham, who was Ambassador Saval in Enterprise, as well as the guy on Voyager whose name I always forget, but Larry knows it.
He was on Voyager.
Yeah, in one episode, he was in Ocampan. All right, we need you live chat. Everybody in the live chat, let us know. I think it was first season Voyager. Gary Graham played an Ocampan. I can't remember his name.
I always think about how he was on years ago. He was on the like Earthbound sci-fi show, Alien Nation, and all 3 of the leads on Alien Nation eventually got into a Star Trek. But
yeah,
who was the third? Eric, and who was the third?
She was in theory, she was Data's girlfriend. They dated for a while.
Oh, cool.
And I've got Scaramucci. Her last name is okay. Chat will help.
That's okay. Yeah, they're gonna let us know. I'm checking on that.
Come on, chat.
And then stay tuned, everybody. Gary Graham had another role to play this day. This evening. But Rico.
Yeah.
How was your Saturday overall?
It was good. It was busy.
Anne-Marie says Tanis in the live chat. Sorry, Tanis.
That's right.
Tanis. Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
He was an Ocampan that talked to Kess in the beginning.
Very busy. Very fun. Great to see a lot of people. Saturday was what Friday was not in that room. The room that we were in. So going back when the question was how was Friday, and I was basically saying none much was going on. I was referring more to that big room that we could have played flag football in.
Oh, that would have been so fun too.
Right. It was huge.
Frisbee.
Yeah, seriously, everybody, that room was so freaking huge. And I'm assuming they were doing it for COVID purposes, because they had another room with other actors, and then they had us in this. It was just freaking humongous. Anyway,
cavernous.
Yeah, they're like, stay 6 feet apart. Let's do 600
feet apart. Yeah. Let's not take no chances. We want these numbers little to nothing. So no, but a lot of people stopped by, and like a lot of our friends, a lot of the usual suspects, people that we know. Stopped by, hung out, passed through. Fans stopped by, hung out, passed through. People who knew us from our various projects, people who knew the Seventh Rule, people, just people who were fans of not only Star Trek but Renegades itself, and just and that was cool, and that was great. In fact, it was cool because there was like a whole Star Trek experience on that floor, so. A lot of people had a chance to get their nerd on, but it was.
You're right. You're right to mention Renegades too. That's interesting. It was actually kind of like a little mini Renegades reunion. Renegades of Gods and Men, like that whole group of people, not just Nichelle that was in it, and Tim Russ that was in it, and Gary Graham that was in it, but all the people behind the scenes, like the Jack Trevino's, who wrote a couple episodes of Deep Space Nine and also helped write Renegades.
Scott
Bernie
Nakata.
Selheimer was there. Scott Nakata, who makes the awesome props for
All the
Renegade.
props.
Yeah.
All kinds of people.
We had Frank Zenka there. He was
And Sirach Lofton, of
Mhm.
course. How can we forget,
Sirach,
by the way?
right.
He
Right.
played Nichelle's son, I believe,
Once he
Of
found
Gods
himself.
and Men.
Yeah.
Right. And and that picture, Ryan, that you have to everybody, that's the room. Now, it does not look like it's that. It actually looks small there, but it was I do not joke when I say somebody should have brought a Frisbee.
That would have been so
Yeah.
much fun to play Ultimate Frisbee in there or capture the flag.
That would
Right?
have, yeah.
That would have
The
been
blood
fun.
pumping.
We could have had a freaking tournament in there.
Woohoo.
Melissa,
That
what
would have
game
been
would you
fun.
like to have played in there?
Red Rover, send somebody over.
Please,
Could have.
somebody come over.
You could have really easy. Yeah.
Kickball.
So Michelle Scarabelli and Tanis was in Coal Fire. So between the chat and coming back, yeah. Okay, so we're all clear. I'm the one that
Very
went down
nice.
the alienation path. That's my fault. Okay.
No, that's great stuff. That is what makes you such a gem, Larry, is that you pull these things out where we're like, what was that? What? And then you say these things. I had no idea. I knew Eric and Gary, but I didn't even know.
And finish. I didn't never watch the show. I just remembered the thing. Yeah.
By the way, Larry, Chuck A says hello to you specifically.
Oh, okay. I'm saying hello back to you, Chuck A.
There we go.
I was going to say hello back.
Just
There.
leave him hanging. He's like, good to know.
Larry's a
All right.
nice guy. He doesn't do that.
So we had a good time. Oh, by the way, everybody at home, we were hooked up very nicely to where we had kind of like our own section. First of all, Larry was in the same room we were. He was just a few tables down, but we had
Like half
kind
a
of
mile.
3-table little
Yeah.
section. We had like a little 3-table section where Rico's table was just to the left of mine. Sirach's table was just to the right of mine. And we would have people, obviously Melissa came and would hang out with us. We also had Bill and Rhea hanging out, lots of people, but it was a good time. We could chat. Our friends Nathan and Patrick with their group were just to the left. They were right next to you, I think, Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adrian
There was an
there
empty
on
table
Sunday.
in between us. There were some no-shows in that room too, which made it feel even bigger than it was. But yeah, all around this, there was no rows. It's just around the edge of the unused soccer field that we were all.
Yeah.
It was extremely COVID safe, everybody.
Mhm.
It couldn't have gotten any more safer.
But we had a really good time just kind of hanging out there, like,
Yeah.
chilling, hanging out. Oh, we also went for a couple hours. A group of us went to the other side where the main convention, Los Angeles Comic-Con, was going on, and we wandered around, had a good time for a couple
Got
hours.
free
Right?
chocolate.
Ooh.
You got free chocolate?
Yeah.
What the hell was I? When did this happen?
I don't know, but they were giving out samples and you could have as many samples as you wanted.
Was it Rhea that was grabbing 1 million of those things? Yeah, it was Rhea. huh?
Yes, it was Rhea.
Yeah, there was.
Rhea came.
There was.
No.
What was it? Whimsy.
Scams.
Shout out to
Whimsy.
Whimsy Chocolate Company or something. They've
Something.
got amazing
Yes.
No wonder they give out free samples. It's because it works. It's
Whoa.
Addictive.
fucking good.
So
Rub it in because
good.
I wasn't
So
there. I guess I had strayed away from the group or something. But
Yeah, see what happens when you stray?
well, y'all could have at least got me some. I mean, dang.
I never did get over to. I kept meaning to go over to the main room and see some people and do it, and I never did. I mean, but I thought, oh, Sunday will be dead. And for me, I had more people coming by, like new people. There were a lot of people that finally found their way up to us. I wish, like, once you got in the Nichelle area, there were all kinds of cool Nichelle banners that they brought. But as far as the Comic-Con side, you'd just see something say Star Trek. If it had said the Nichelle Nichols farewell event, I think a lot more people would go, oh, and get their butts up there.
Yeah.
Sunday,
yeah.
I think more people came over than there were on Saturday. At least, and a lot of people were like, oh, I had more conversations with people I did not know on Sunday than I did on Saturday.
Well, especially towards the end, when we
Mhm.
had the big celebration and stuff like that. That's when it got really crowded. Yeah.
The big room was the biggest it was for the ending, for the finale. Yeah. I just wish more people were there Friday night to see the family. I wish more people had. I mean, and there were some people like Doug Jones had to cancel for his for filming. But Walter, did this get out? Walter had some kind of it was scary at first, but he said he had some kind of an infection. He went to the ER. He thought he was fine. I haven't checked in to see how he is today. This is now Tuesday. This was Sunday. So he thought he was just going to be, but he passed on word. They announced it on stage. It wasn't some rumor mill thing going around. And he was heartbroken about not being there for Nichelle. And, but then everybody was like, well, what about you? What about you? And I hope he's doing well. Yeah.
That's the whole thing is everybody's like, look, Walter, as long as you're okay, then that's really all anybody cares about at this point.
I don't think he has to add on to anything over the last 50 years. But those were that wiped out my two main panels, and then I wound up doing a guest panel on Sunday with the women, with some of the original series women, and they all had Nichelle stories, which was great. Beverly Washburn and
love it.
Sandy Gimple, and Tanya Lamani. Yeah.
Can you tell us all, for the people that don't know, not me, but the people that don't know what roles they played in the original series?
Oh, I should. Yeah. So Beverly Washburn, and I meant to tell her this. She played Nurse Galway in Deadly Years, and she was like the first person that she aged so fast that she died.
Oh, but yeah.
I got to tell her, I was going to tell her that the thing I remember being in the show, but I always remember from the blooper reels when she goes, "Doctor, I feel like hell. I forgot my line." And that was in the bloopers for that's how I know her. But Sandy's awesome. She's a stunt woman and still working. She was like a kid and was a dancer and then got into stunts and is still working. She said she did a 911. She was like an elderly woman in a couple, and somebody, the stars are racing through and knock them over, and she has to take a tumble. She's still, and she was a Telosian in the cage, and then she was inside the salt vampire suit in Mantra.
That's awesome. That is so cool. She's still doing it.
And has a picture. Cool. Has a picture with the head off. It's like, here's 19-year-old or 18-year-old Sandy with the head. Yeah.
I saw that picture. Yeah, in the promo. Okay.
And then Tanya Lamani was Cara the dancer on the shore leave in Wolf in the Fold. The Red Jack, the Jack the Ripper entity show.
She the one that got killed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
All three of them got killed in their.
Yeah. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, for the last 50 years.
What was I? Yeah. That came up late Sunday. I think I did the same thing. I was like, spoiler. Yeah, you don't make
it. Speaking of 50 years, this is the part I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Saturday night. Saturday night came along, and the rumor was, and by rumor I mean we all knew it was a fact and it was scheduled. There was a party upstairs at the Indigo Hotel on the 3rd floor, and Gary Graham's band, the Sons of Kirk, were playing. They are a Star Trek themed band, but they also play all kinds of cool hits that everybody knows and loves. Lots of things to dance to and rock out to. And we all kind of pop our head in to see how it's going, and it's rocking, totally rocking. There, what would you say? About 100 people were there, and Nichelle was there.
150.
Actually, the picture behind Rico is from that night. It looks like
it is,
and that had to be the most active I've seen Nichelle in at least 5 years. She just decided, hey, I want to get up and I want to dance. And so she got up and she started dancing with people. And every time she'd sit back down, she'd stand back up and be like, you know what?
She's like,
still got some more ants in my pants. I want to dance a little more.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, it was just so cool to see. The look on her face was just beaming. Like, this is 9-10 o'clock at night, and this 80-plus-year-old lady wants to just keep playing and keep laughing and smiling and telling everybody how much she loves them, and her big smile and looking around. I mean, it was just such a good feeling, wasn't it?
And the beautiful thing about it was she, like, her lines, the things that she said, it was all beautiful, but the last parts where she was like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Doing her
oh my God. It was
And she had signed. She had like what, 2 or 3 times of like a couple of hours a piece signing during the day. I mean, she's
pretty much all day. Yeah.
You know,
she was working all day.
All day, man.
Yeah.
In her way.
It was such a highlight. It was such a highlight. And being there and seeing the pure joy on her face when she was on the dance floor. I remember thinking, this is what I battled traffic for. This moment, this made it all worth it. And just seeing how much she just loved being there and celebrating life, and it was definitely on her own terms. And when she would sit back down, she would get right back up. She was like, no, I don't want to sit. Let's get back up on the floor. And I'm just like, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful to see. And I'm glad I was there to witness it. So, yeah.
At one point they said like Nichelle really liked a song. So we were saying like to the band, hey, play that song again. Nichelle wants to dance to it. So they, Sons of Kirk went and played it all over again. What was it? It was some 70s tune. It was a rockin' 70s tune. I can't remember it right now.
I'm trying to think. There was one they took a second on and then they found it and came back to it. Not La Bamba.
No, but that was one that they played that night.
Yeah. Just everybody having fun. No, it was like that glow, that smile and that glow came through. So I want to say something, because I know over the last few years, a lot of stuff's been written. People have been concerned. People have been sincerely concerned about the controversy that was around Nichelle and her estate and who was looking out for her the best, and her old manager that I remember I dealt with once or twice. I dealt with him to have her do her interview for the Connor Rath. We went to the house, but this thing, and then when Kyle kind of got back in the picture and all that, and people suspecting his motives and all that, and then this third party person coming in saying she's going to do better than either of the two of them, and all. Anyway, it's crazy. But by the time the last year or so, I mean, a lot of the court stuff has happened, and there've been some news stories, and people have been concerned. But the last year or two, it's been pretty settled. And she's been in good hands. And it's when it became not about Kyle or son, but when her sister and the rest of the family, and then you saw that Saturday night, you saw, here they all are here. Like, how things are settled now. They're fine. There's no, and I've seen people even recently say, well, they've had her at this thing all weekend doing. It's like, that's when you saw her at that dance, that did not look like a woman who was there against her will, or who was not enjoying it and processing it, and she looked
like she was having the time of her life.
She had her quiet voice that she has, but she was, and it was the same thing on Sunday when Mae Jemison was there with I don't want to get ahead of it, but you could tell she was enjoying everything, and that's what she wanted to be doing. And they were at the scale of what was good for her. And like the family panel Friday night, she wasn't part of that. It was the rest of the family. They weren't trying to have her up there with them or even sitting down the audience. She was resting, and that was at 5 going on 6 o'clock. So it's not like, I just wanted to say, if nothing else, aside from everybody getting all these big smiles from the joy that was there, the subtext of that was, look, this is all good. If anybody was still, concerned or anything, this is all good. And it's closing the door on her public life. So,
right.
Yeah. What you were saying, Melissa, it was like,
oh my God, we're going to miss her.
Yeah.
I think just like as an actor, I'm sure like as an actor being on set is her happy place. Like for most actors, I think in terms of the con circuit and the fans, that's also her happy place. And even going into her present situation in life and everything, it's still her happy place. So it's almost like in a lot of ways you have had to have been there, or even if you weren't, if you've ever been to an event that she's been at, or even if you've just met her, if you got a picture with her or a book signed or anything signed, you're seeing genuine happiness coming from a woman who, I'm sure next to family, is probably at her happiest in life. So it's really a joy to see that, and Larry, I think you said what you said was spot on, and yeah, I don't think she's been happier than when she's on set, when she's at these cons with the family, with her fans and whatnot. So
Well,
yeah, it was really nice.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, it was really nice to see her whole family with her and surrounding her, and they were all having so much fun, and a lot of them seemed like, I don't want to say surprised, but very like impressed. They were like, wow, this is so great. And when the people would line up in Starfleet uniform to walk her out, and beautiful, and they were looking around and they were like, this is amazing, I love
and
this.
they knew it, but I don't think a lot, because I was in the family panel, I was trying to say, and they talked about that. It's like, well, she was this icon to the world, but to us, she was just Auntie Shell, Auntie Shelly Mama. And which is that's always the true. Your family is one thing, and her sister was said, like, sometimes Nichelle would, just start off. And she said once or twice, she said, like, what was it? She said, like, they would get into something family-ish and she starts kind of like dictating, but she's not trying to, she's just goes into that mode. And she said, one of the things she said was one time that happened, and she goes, hey, we ain't your fans. And she was like, oh yeah. It's like,
we're not ensigns.
My sisters. Yeah. Okay.
And what were you saying, Melissa?
No, I was going to say, you can see the genuine love that she has for people. And she draws energy from that, from the love of the people that give it to her, and she gives it right back. And that was part of the beauty of Saturday night as well. And then hearing Mae Jemison talk on stage about being part of her family as well, and that was eye-opening. I had no idea, but that was so wonderful to see what a close-knit unit they are, and how much they care for her. So that was beautiful as well.
And remember, that's the same heart that responded to Martin Luther King when he said, you can't leave the show. That's the same heart that responded to finding herself being thrust into this role of women of color trying to battle in Hollywood and represent. The same heart that's jumped in to, broaden out the face of American space and recruit for NASA.
Oh my gosh,
what
a pioneer.
Face that had to watch some of her people die on the first Challenger, that she had personally recruited 3 of those,
Yeah.
But Judy Resnick and Ellison Onizuka and Ron McNair were all people from her class that she recruited. Yeah.
See, that's the beauty of Larry right there. He just named 3 people I've never heard of in my life that I know of. Maybe I did.
Well, you know of the
watching the Challenger blow up on screen.
Just pulled them out.
Yeah, you know of the astronauts, maybe not the names. I mean,
I got refreshed over the weekend. Okay, I'll say that. Yeah.
Well, I think out of all those astronauts, I think Christy McAuliffe was the one who was the most famous, because she was the teacher.
Right. The teacher,
won the trip to go up.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was a great celebration of Nichelle Nichols, not just in the panels, not just in the fans, but just in the joy on her face. Because there's always the possibility that, like, when you're elderly, you have good weekends and bad weekends. You have good days and bad days. What if she was just tired that weekend and just didn't feel like hanging out? She just wanted a nap. That's okay. A lot of times that happens. But she looked like she was guns blazing. Like, she was just out there, especially at the party. It was surprising to see, but also not surprising, because I think any of us in that position would be like, all right, this is my last hurrah before I ride off into the sunset and just hang out, watch Wheel of Fortune or whatever. But let's talk a bit more about Sunday. Larry's teased a bit about Sunday, but Sunday actually ended up being a pretty good day. Sometimes Sundays are like, I thought everybody was going to show up hungover, tired. I thought Nichelle was going to be sick of our shit. Be like, I had my fun last night. I don't know who you guys are anymore.
Right.
I would have paid money to hear that. To see that. I'm
She
sick
puts
of
on
your
her
shit.
Unky Herb hat. She puts on her Unky Herb hat. But Sunday was good. Rico, you had a couple panels and events that you did. I was supposed to be part of one of them, but I wasn't.
You got scared. It's okay. I moderated a panel with Jason Matthew Smith, Cupcake from the 2009 Star Trek, and
super nice guy.
Yeah, really cool dude. Super nice guy. So with
also
Jason,
in Renegades.
Also in Renegades, yes, exactly. As Malbon, I think, one of the sci-fi warriors. Also on the panel was Deep Roy, who was Larry.
Keenser.
Yeah.
Keenser. See, Larry even corrected you when I thought you actually had it right.
Well, I always go to second generation Oompa Loompa from the Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And I always think of him from the X-Files episode that's so scary. He scares me a little bit because of that episode.
We should have sent him over to you.
Just
you
don't
face your fear.
Just don't squeak any wheels when he's around, because creepy.
Yeah, he was really cool. We had Gigi Edgley on the panel, and we also had Patricia Tallman. And
awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool. It started off, it was just going to be Gigi and Patricia, and then at the last minute, we threw in Deep and
what did
Jason.
You just say?
We threw them in deep. No, we threw in Deep, and we threw in Jason and Deep. See, either way, you could. I see your wheels spinning on how to.
Rico, this is not late enough in the night for you to be talking like this. It's still like the sun's barely gone down.
You're like, you can't give me enough alcohol. But yeah, really good panel. They discussed their careers. They discussed just what Star Trek meant to them, their roles in it. Of course, we spoke about Nichelle, and it was just a great overall panel, which just caught up. We all caught up and people got a chance to listen, ask questions, and stuff like that. And after that, there was a Uhura costume contest that I emceed. Was supposed to do it with a one Ryan T. Husk the 14th.
Huh?
Exactly. But somebody wasn't around, and so I had to
the problem
do it all myself.
That I was around. I was at my table just hanging out. Nobody came and got me. And then Rico comes strolling back. I was like, did you do that costume contest? He's like, yeah, where were you? I was like, I was just hanging out waiting for somebody to come get me. I don't know where it is.
It was not a weekend for people to come get people and get them to,
Well,
exactly.
I mean, in his defense, we did try and find where it was.
It was in the big
Rico, tone.
Indoor voice.
I didn't know where that was, and apparently he didn't either.
It's all good. It was fun. What I'll tell you this. What made it really cool was all the women who were in the contest. Of course, they were fans, and one of the questions that I asked them was I just wanted to know what is it about Uhura that inspired you to dress up as her? What is it about Uhura that you love? What are some of the things about Uhura and Nichelle Nichols that you love and are inspired by, and all that? So it was a great panel. I mean, not a panel, but it was a great contest in terms of really getting in touch with those fans and what their thoughts and feelings were. And the winner ended up being a woman, of course, dressed like Uhura, but her husband. Now, this was cool. This was pretty dope. Her husband, so she had her and her husband. So her husband, remember that episode where everybody was seeing illusions, And it was the episode where Uhura, Larry, stick with me, buddy, where Uhura saw this African dude, and she started speaking Swahili to him, and then he started speaking Swahili, or he started speaking Swahili to her, and then
it's Mantrap, I think. Isn't it the first one?
Is it Mantrap? Okay,
I was gonna say.
Okay,
yeah, but I know it's and the guy's part was Uhura's crewman, was his part in the
right, but it turns out he wasn't a salt monster, but he was a something. He was some sort of monster or something like that.
He was the shapeshifter salt monster. Yeah,
he was. All right. So what they did was half of him was like the handsome African man, and here he is, and da 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 da. But when you turn him around, he's the salt monster. So the whole time the ladies are standing there in line, and I'm interviewing each of them, before we pick the winner. My man is standing there with his back to the audience, but you're seeing all salt monster. He was chilling there for at least a good 10 minutes and not moving. And it was so funny. And it was just like, I mean, those two, they won. They had to win. I mean, everybody looked great, and everybody had great stories and answers and stuff like that. But these guys just took it one step further, which I just thought was pretty awesome. And the winner got an autographed photo of Nichelle and a photo op as well.
Aww.
Now, speaking of winners,
were in that?
There was about 10.
Oh, okay.
10 contestants.
Number.
Yeah.
So speaking of winners, by the way, and tens, we have a surprise guest
at 47
joining us. I do want to mention you talked about Patricia Tallman.
Yes.
She got the 7th Rule, their most viewed video ever, or second most viewed video ever when we interviewed her. She is very well loved and very well accomplished, and a really cool lady, by the way. So here comes the secret special guest. You'll never guess who it is. Everybody that's listening in, it's Scott Baker. Hello, Scott.
Scotty!
What's up, guys?
So
Scotty, baby.
Gosh, 2 days no see, Scott.
I know, it's been a while. I miss you guys.
I don't know if you were watching, but we're just finishing up talking about the convention, and
yeah, man.
Everybody, Scott was going around with the camera recording it. Actually, I didn't see the camera once. You've successfully avoided me with the camera the entire weekend. Yeah.
Oh, Scotty was on a roll, man.
It's all over
the place.
Rolling.
He was filming.
So let's now talk about, since Scott's a busy guy, he ain't got all day here. Let's just talk about
he ain't got time.
The absolute tip-top highlight of the weekend and the event and the convention for each one of us, starting with Melissa. What was the greatest moment of this convention for you after you found parking?
Damn it. There goes mine.
Well, there is many highlights, but and aside from free chocolate, chocolate. I would say the highlight was seeing the joy on Nichelle's face on the dance floor. That will be one of my favorite memories, and that will last for as long as I last, So it was such a beautiful moment. So that was my favorite.
What do you think, Rico? Do you have a favorite moment throughout the entire weekend?
Well, I would say having the opportunity to speak to Nichelle. Part of when we announced the winners of the Uhura costume contest, Sky and I walked them over to the room where Nichelle was taking pictures. And it was the room that had the bridge of the Enterprise, the original series Enterprise. And so they took the pictures, got a chance to meet her and talked with her for a second. And then I wanted a picture too. So I went.
That doesn't sound like you at all.
Yeah, I know. Me get in front of a camera. So I ended up getting a picture, and they were setting it up and everything. And of course, I had the opportunity to say hello to Nichelle, and she looked at me and she said hi, and then she kind of turned her head away, and then she turned her head back, and she was like, "What's your name?"
What
And
are
I
you
was
still
like,
doing here?
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be 2 seconds in out. And I was like, Rico. And she was like, oh, hi. And I was like, it's great to see you again. And she turned her head again. And then she turned back and she was like, what's your name again? And I said, Rico. And, it was just a very sweet moment. And just, have met Nichelle, like all of us, many times over. But it's always good to just see her and just have that connection to her. So, and I have to, I know you only asked for one, but I do have to honorable mention what Melissa said. Seeing that joy in her was everything. So, yeah,
Priceless.
That's cool. So Rico's top two goes my joy, Nichelle's joy too.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, but that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
You asked what his favorite moment of the weekend was, not Nichelle's favorite moment of the weekend. So.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. See, I knew you had my back, buddy. Yeah. Here's to you, Scotty Baker.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, what about you? You had a pretty eventful weekend. What was your favorite
I mean,
moment?
definitely. I think anybody who was there, seeing her dancing on the dance floor, having fun, wouldn't say that was the best moment of the entire weekend. But for me, I'd say sort of like not a single moment, but because I was out there with the camera and I was doing like interviews with different people talking about what Uhura meant to them, what Nichelle Nichols meant to them, what that whole thing, and just getting those little bits from everybody and getting those moments, whether it was from fans, whether it was from other actors that had worked with her before, other people who were just there at the convention. I mean, I got a lot of great moments and people saying things like, I know Rico said representation matters and things like that, and just hearing those voices from people who were personally impacted by her life. I think that kind of stuff, you hear that stuff sort of in general, but to actually hear people saying it and saying like, I went into aerospace engineering because I saw Star Trek and I saw an African-American character there, and I'm African-American, and there was nowhere else on TV or in movies where I saw African-Americans. And I said, oh, I can do that too, and me growing up white and in that bubble, I didn't have that experience. And so to be able to hear other people's experiences about that was really touching. And I think brought a lot of that whole weekend. I think that sort of sentiment was going around a lot, so. And
so when people get to see videos of that, they will know that was you that got that footage. By the way, our good friend, Mr. J.R. Poole, says it's filmmaker Baker. That's you. I think. Larry, you have a favorite moment, a moment that stood out, something super memorable?
Yeah, I have like honorable mentions. Seeing her, not only that smile and lighting up, but on and on and on and on and jumping up to dance. And she had her nephew there with her and Kyle with her there. And you'd see some of those videos, somebody's got her by the elbow. So it's not like but there's times she was. But it was all like in a safe way, but everybody could sit there and watch her enjoy that. But there was that. I enjoyed something that's like, I was sitting here thinking how you never get to do this with other celebrities, other actors, but being up there and being able to kind of help support and moderate for all the best reasons, but then shut up and get out of the way when her family was enjoying it, because I know they were enjoying sharing it, and the fans were enjoying it that were there. And the fans that were enjoying it, hearing all this and hearing the real down to earth person here. And they're all eventually coming to grips with her advancing age too. It's like anybody you have in your family, you remember them when they're younger because you were younger, and when you were a kid and they were in their prime and would, tell you to whatever, like her sister's talking. But they're on their own kind of process too. But hearing that, and then just seeing the people over and over and over again. A lot of fans I had not seen in ages. A lot of people, a lot of the older fandom, but then also you saw a lot of the cosplay going on. There were a lot of brand new fans there too. So whether they were there with some of the clubs and groups, or some people stumble in from the Comic-Con and didn't even know we were there until they accidentally found out. So it's hard to top her seeing her dance, but I really enjoyed that. And also, even in the panels, some of the things I heard from people I knew, their Nichelle story or their Nichelle angle, Pat Tallman lived next door to her for a while when she was a kid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah, see?
What? You didn't say that in the panel. What?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was like, how are we going to stretch? Oh, good thing I got 4 people so we can stretch this panel and still make it interesting. And there was no problem. We spent the first 20 minutes just everybody telling their Nichelle story because they had one. So yeah, it was. The other thing I was going to say that we haven't mentioned all was, so what Sky and Linda had done ahead of time for May, a year ago, was they invited fans to send in stories like a Nichelle moment, and they had one from an ambassador, one from retired Army lieutenant colonel, I think. But anyway, they had fan stories, and we were supposed to read one of those at the beginning of every panel. And sometimes it slipped. But in fact, one time I read a beginning and ending. But there was one just out of this, like ordinary, a woman who can't think of her name. But anyway, she was a volunteer at a con in Indianapolis. It wasn't Starbase Indy. It was like an Indiana Comic-Con. And she was working the line at a photo op, and it was Nichelle's photo op. And it's one of the volunteers. It's awesome because it's like they serve the fans and they serve the celebrity, and they're totally like subservient to everything. They're just there trying to do their job. And she was so humble, and she was talking about how she was doing the line, and the line was getting down to the end, and she was marking the end of the line. It was Nichelle's line, and she got down to the end, and Nichelle looked at her and said, "Okay, are you the last one?" And she says, "No, I'm the end of the line." And she was like, she kind of gave her a look, and then the last 2 or 3 or 4 of them went through. And then they were done. And she started to help her walk away. And she's like, "Get in here with me real fast." Nichelle says, "Get in here with me." She goes, "Oh, no, ma'am." And this she's saying, "My manager's going to yell at me if I try to get fansy and take advantage of being, uber humble." And she's like, "Oh, no, I can't. I'm just the line. I'm not supposed to." And she said, "Shut up, girl, and get over here." Okay. And then she said the next day she was working the same line. And the next day, Nichelle did the same thing. And she says, "I shut up and got in there." But I mean, that's the kind of, so there were like a whole range of fans, they or somebody had gone into aerospace or into name the technical field, something, science, because of Nichelle and all of Star Trek. And some of the people had really inspiring stories that were really getting on the level of, Whoopi's story and Mae Jemison's inspirational stories. So that was a really nice, and they were probably 2 years old by now because they'd all been sent, late 2019. But anyway, that was a nice little touch too that they did for the show.
Larry, that's funny you mentioned that. Ryan, if I could just say this real quick, because I was given a letter to read also, and I'm glad to hear that you slipped a couple of times in because I forgot to read mine in the beginning. So while we were in the panel, I read it, and then I just kind of incorporated that into another topic of discussion. So, but it was a cool one by a woman named Nichelle, who was named after Nichelle, who got into, I can't remember, something because of Nichelle. It might have been science, I don't know, something. And then the kicker was she got a chance to meet Nichelle at this party. And so it was a great, kind of a great full circle moment, because she always wanted to meet Nichelle, never had the opportunity, and she came to the party, and there were some beautiful stories. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which is another little part of the whole weekend, which made it awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, Larry, you mentioned Sky. Everybody at home, that's Sky Conway, Linda Zarukis as well, and Frank Zanka, and the whole team. They, it's a lot of work. I don't know if you heard, there's a pandemic out there somewhere, and this thing got delayed because of it 18 months. And they finally did it. They put it together. Scott, before you came, we were talking about how it was extremely COVID safe because of how far apart the tables were. They're really socially distanced. They took it seriously. I'll tell you my favorite moment. I mean, like, I really honestly can't think of anything beyond that party that night. I was not planning on sticking around. I wasn't even really planning on going. I just kind of wanted to poke my head in. But seeing how happy Nichelle was and watching it click in her head, as it would for any one of us, looking around and seeing that all eyes are on her, and watching her kind of just be so happy to lock eyes with every single person, seeing that everybody's looking at her, everybody's pointing their camera, everybody's smiling at her, everybody's cheering for her. It must have been like,
and
such
music's going.
And the Gary Graham's band is blasting great rockin' tunes. And just watching her look around and constantly having that realization of these are all people that love me and are all sending me off. And she knows what this means, and they know what this means. And it's like a farewell, it's a goodbye, it's a thank you. It's all wrapped up into one. And nobody was going to leave until after she left, because we don't want her to see people filing out. It was just nice for her to be like the center of the universe one more time. Everybody's focus and attention was on her, and she loved it, and we loved it. And you can't think of anybody that deserves it more. We should all be so lucky to go out surrounded by people that love us like that. And now she can just go, like I said, watch Wheel of Fortune for the rest of her day. Whatever she wants to do, she's going to hang on to that moment, And it's a great moment for all of us.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, I was going to duck out at 6, and we got swept up in this
cool.
And go on. But thank you for having me in this evening.
Oh, what do you got to promote? You got something coming up?
Well, I just want to remind everybody out there that this has always been real popular at the holidays. So we have Portal 47 in a box. It's like giftable. If you want to, it's virtual, but if you want to have something, it's the member pin and some swag in there. So that's there too. You can actually order it if you order by the 17th. And if you want it to give to somebody by, under a tree kind of situation, it's there. So over at LarryNemecek.com, and I think it's /Holly21, but yeah, go to my page and you can get over there. So that's the cool thing for the holidays we're throwing out. Aside from all this activity the last few weeks, all these anniversaries and Nichelle's event and everything, it's been a wild end of the year, and new Star Trek still coming. So it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's LarryNemecek.com. Easy. Great.
Yes.
Well, thanks very much, Larry.
Okay, guys, it's been fun, and I'm glad everybody. Good to see everybody last week.
Yes.
Yeah, great seeing you, Larry.
Okay, take care, everybody.
All right, man.
Larry just said what my honorable mention was just seeing all our buddies. I've gotten pretty used to being a hermit, and let me tell you, it is great. I love keeping the fuck away from all you people. Oh, it's great. I could see you over there, but I don't.
All right, quit rubbing it in. Jeez.
But like every once in a while, when you're forced to go out and do something, you're like, oh yeah, these people aren't so bad. They're nice. They're funny. We have a good time together. It's great seeing. And I don't call the older fans. We don't call them old fans. We call them OG fans. Since the very beginning, they've been around. Really good seeing the Renegades reunion, the pals here that we see right now. The people in the live chat, a lot of them were there, and new people. Great time. Really loved it.
Can I add an honorable mention too? It kind of
troublemaker.
It kind of piggybacks off of what you're saying. Another favorite part was the hugs that came with those. Seeing all these people in person. I love hugs. So there was a lot of wonderful hugs from this group, and then some of the people in the live chat, like one Trek fan.
Yeah.
And others.
And others.
Yeah, and others.
Muhammad's a great hugger too, but he was not there,
Mhm.
so we missed out on that. Scott's a big time
Yes.
hugger too.
Mhm.
Okay. Speaking of Scott, everybody in the chat, can you guess what the sci-fi movie is that was mentioned and made a top 10 21st century sci-fi beat movies? Try to lower the beat part. Can anybody guess? The answer is, of course, something that Scott Baker here co-wrote, co-produced, well, produced, but produced with others, and directed, no co necessary. Rico acted in it. I acted in it with our buddy Doug Jones. Manu and Tereme was there. I punched him by accident. I was co-producing in it. You know, the movie is, of course, Anne Marie knows, Screen Rant, baby. She says, J.R. Poole says, The Fifth Passenger, which is close to, oh, Melissa in the live chat says Fifth Passenger. Good guess, Melissa.
What's she doing in there?
And it's in your background, Scott. So for everybody that
Yes.
doesn't know what Fifth
Oh, yeah.
Passenger is, can you
Oh,
please tell them about it a little bit?
Sure. Fifth Passenger is a sci-fi thriller feature film starring some of your favorite Star Trek alum like Doug Jones and Marina Sirtis and Tim Russ and Armin Shimmerman and Manu Teremi and Hannah Hate and Ryan T. Husk and Rico E. Anderson and Darnell Davis and also David Lim, who's now in SWAT. If you're a fan of watching SWAT, and Morgan Lariah is the lead in it. She co-wrote the script with me, and was also one of the producers. So it's about 5 people in an escape pod, and the catch is the escape pod is only built for 4 people, so it's like this lifeboat in space, and there's an alien creature, and you got people from different walks of life, having to deal with being around each other in a small confined space, and so you've got all that sort of thriller sci-fi goodness that happens there. It was a film that we crowdfunded with Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and I'm very proud to say that the majority of the contributions of the film came from Star Trek fans and people who support Star Trek. We did the film and around the same time that a lot of the other films like Renegades and Star Trek Continues and Axanar were all kind of doing these crowdfunding campaigns, and so a lot of the same people were involved in the behind the scenes of making the film come together from like a crowdfunding standpoint, and then also from a production standpoint. Tobias Richter was our visual effects guy who did all the ships and everything like that, and he also worked on Axanar and Renegades and some of these other productions. And then Thomas E. Supernat is our special effects makeup supervisor, who the Virtual TrekCon audience knows from the Virtual TrekCon 1 and 2.
We talked about him earlier in the episode, actually.
Yeah. So he was our makeup guy on that and did our alien creature and all that kind of stuff. And so it's a film that was very, very near and dear to my heart. It's sort of a passion project in the sense of it's a story that I always wanted to tell, the kind of film that I enjoy making, but we didn't have the budget and the resources that kind of story normally deserves, and so we had to rely on people giving favors and working for less money than they're normally used to making, and doing all those things that you do to try to stretch every penny and make the film as good as we can for what the resources we had. But yeah, now it got distribution, and it's out on the major sort of platforms. You can watch on Amazon. You can watch it for free on YouTube through our distributor Epic. It's on this what they call advertising video on demand. So you as the viewer can watch it for free. You just have to watch some commercials.
That's worth
you get
it.
to watch. Yeah,
That's
I think
okay.
so. I don't know if the commercials come throughout the movie. That always kind of sucks when you're watching a movie and a commercial pops up. But I think we're starting to get kind of used to that with
Hulu.
Paramount. Yeah, Hulu and Paramount Plus does it if you don't pay the extra to watch the Star Trek episodes and stuff like that. But
Pluto.
Yeah.
Where
it's
else
on-
can
it's
they
on-
watch it?
It's on like Roku and
Mhm.
Tubi and Redbox, like the streaming part of Redbox, I
Mhm.
think has
Mhm.
it. And yeah, you just type in Fifth Passenger and 4 or 5 different ways.
Now everybody,
If you
do
haven't watched it.
five th passenger, not like
Mm-hmm.
written out fifth, kind of like seventh rule, 7th rule. Nobody likes to spell
So-
things out, so get that out of your
Mm-mm.
head.
No,
Scott,
no,
here's a quick question for you. Somebody in the chat says, LOL. Don't look at the chat. Are you looking at the chat already? You already cheated. I said somebody in the chat said, and you turned and looked. Somebody says, I remember being tipsy / drunk in Vegas telling Baker how much I liked it. Who is that person?
Ooh.
I think I'm.
Stop
I
looking.
Wow.
I said it's like because like the screen is also flashing whenever it changes images, up there, so it's like drawing my attention over. I think that was J.R. Poole who.
Yes,
Yay.
very good.
I got one. I got
Great
one trivia
job
question.
reading that
of
off
the
your
day.
screen.
I remember that conversation.
I'm picturing this conversation
I
happening.
know.
Yeah, no, it was a funny
Listen here,
conversation.
Baker.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't like that.
yeah.
I like the
was-
cut of your jib, kid.
Yeah. No, I don't remember.
Great.
I don't remember him being tipsy. I think we were all just kind of, we were all just a little bit loose that night.
I think we were all dipping in the
Okay.
bottle.
It was a fun night in Vegas. Yeah, for sure.
Whenever I plug the film in interviews or whatever, I always say, yeah, it stars like predominantly like Star Trek cast, and even starred Doug Jones before he got cast in Discovery.
Mhm.
That was a
So-
preemptive
Yeah.
strike right there. We're like,
Yeah.
let's get a
Yeah.
bunch of Star Trek actors and some that have yet come to pass.
Yeah. This was so we shot the film in early 2015, so it was way before Discovery was even on the radar.
Mentioned that,
Right.
right.
Yeah. He hadn't.
Paramount wasn't even pregnant with Discovery yet.
Right.
No,
You're
just
getting
a
it now.
twinkle in CBS's eye. Yeah, and then when he told us that he got cast, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, what fantastic luck!" And that this all kind of worked out, and the kind of the circles all came together on
Yeah.
that kind of thing. That was really cool.
And he was glorious.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's the absolute best. Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean,
So everybody check that out.
Yeah, I mean the conversation with Jared Poole was fun, and that's a cool thing, like going to like Vegas and meeting people who have seen the film and stuff like that, and this article, what it was, it was listing B movies, and I don't mind that our film is considered a B movie. I mean, we know that we didn't have, $10 million to make this film,
Right.
so it's never going to be an A movie if that's a thing, right? That's kind of what the movie was going in. It's not a Star Trek fan film because it's not at all set in the Star Trek universe. It's not trying to emulate that. I mean, I think whenever you do science fiction, you do spaceships, you're always going to kind of borrow from other properties.
Sure.
We're going to borrow from Star Trek. You're going to borrow from Star Wars. You're going to borrow from Alien. Like that's sort of inevitable. But we tried really hard not to make it. This is like a Star Trek movie. That was never my intention from the beginning. It just sort of all those sort of stars aligned when it came to putting the cast together as far as the Star Trek stuff goes. But it's cool to have those conversations with fans that enjoy the film. I mean, there's nothing better as a filmmaker than making a movie and finding out there's some people who like it, because there's always going to be people who don't like it, but just find the people who like it.
Pretty amazing to make an independent science fiction feature, sci-fi horror. And actually, the addition of Doug was kind of like the marriage of science fiction and horror, because this was
Right.
before he was ever really in sci-fi. He was a
Yeah.
horror guy, so he was more of the horror angle. But yeah, really cool. Personally, I'm very happy with how it came out. I'm very impressed that you and we and all of us got it done. And there were so many people that gave so much of their time and really, were willing to sacrifice time and money, for this passion project, because it is not easy. Science fiction is an expensive thing. If we wanted to just shoot, a Three's Company movie, You can do that on a shoestring budget.
I got
Just have an
an
apartment and a
apartment
couch.
right here. Yeah, right.
But
And-
sci-fi
and-
is much tougher, and we
And
pulled it
the
off.
wardrobe is jeans and a t-shirt, and
Easy.
Right.
yeah,
No
but yeah, and-
aliens, no makeup.
yeah, and in that too, obviously, big thanks to you. Ryan was one of the co-producers on the film and was instrumental in the crowdfunding campaign. And again, that's how this film got made, was because of the support of Star Trek fans and other people who support indie
They were
sci-fi
amazing.
and stuff like that. And Ryan was really instrumental in making that happen. And I feel very confident in saying that if we hadn't brought him aboard, we wouldn't have gotten the film made. So big thanks to you, sir, as well.
Well, thanks very much. And that's all because of the fans. That's it. The fans do it. I really was happy to be able to do it. I'm really glad it worked out. I appreciate you saying that. And like you said, the fans, best fans in the world, they hook it up. So that being said, everybody just go check it out. We talked about it plenty. You want to see it now. Rico was awesome in it, by the way. Everybody knows that. We're not going to tell you, but he does play a Star Trek actor's brother in the movie. Wait, no, that's another guy. Never mind. Kind of. Actually, yes, he does.
We're still
In a
writing
way.
my character's
In a way.
backstory.
In a way, you
Yeah, in a
watch.
way.
I guess I should watch the movie again. I haven't seen it in years, so I
I guess I should watch it too, because
Yeah, I think I need to go back and watch it.
The script changed. Okay.
got something you wrote didn't tell me about when prepping for the character.
Yeah, there's
speaking of
some hidden
brothers-
backstory there.
Yeah.
But speaking of brothers, and very quickly, do want to point out some news of the week. And that's this. Alex Kurtzman, by the way, this is trekmovie.com, our friends there. They do great work. Kurtzman has crossovers in mind. There's a lot of crazy things going on here.
What was that? Couple makes a bet. How much did it net?
What?
So there's a lot of stuff in here. He's saying that Section 31 is still theoretically in the works. It is not closed. It is not cooked. It is not done. A lot of crossovers in mind. Who knows what these crossovers are going to be? If anybody has any ideas, let us know. But, they mentioned previous crossover things. I don't know. Do you guys have any theories or thoughts on Section 31 or on Star Trek doing crossover? Do you think that Captain Picard is going to show up in Lower Decks? Do you think the Prodigy ship is going to go into the future and see the Discovery ship?
I'm not at all excited about Section 31 show. I think every time they do it, it seems kind of goofy and sort of just doesn't I don't know, like the whole idea, we've got a Section 31 comm badge. That doesn't make any sense. It's why would you have a badge for a super secret society? Let everybody
advertise
know
that you're in the secret society.
Right.
Society. Yeah.
It's like if you're in Fight Club and you have a shirt that says Fight Club on it.
Right. Did they learn nothing from Fight Club?
Yeah. It's like I have a hat that says secret agent on it, but that's my personal.
Yeah, but Rico's pissed at you right now because he's gonna let you have it.
And I know where you live, Baker. Baker, the direct. Wait, what did JR call you? The
Filmmaker Baker.
Filmmaker Baker. You know what I would love to see with a Section 31 series? I would love to see the ultimate crossover where you're literally seeing somehow or another everything being connected in a way. Yeah, where Section 31 kind of had something to do with it or something to do with certain levels of success, but you just never hear about it. And I'm talking starting from Enterprise to TOS to Next Gen to DS9, just all of them. And in some way, shape, but it's not just saying that it just happened within these stories. They have whatever connection they have throughout the Star Trek universe. I'm actually excited for it because I'm just really interested to see what they're going to do with it. And we're obviously getting hints of it from what we saw with Discovery, and hopefully they'll draw on things that we've seen in the past with DS9 and Enterprise. So it's going to be interesting.
Medallion in the live chat is saying something that I totally agree with. Section 31 crosses over with Deep Space Nine.
Mhm.
That would be cool to see some Deep Space Nine characters in the new Section 31. I mean,
Yeah.
Bashir, you know,
Yeah.
who else? Garrick, maybe, you know,
Mhm.
some crazy stuff going on there. What do you think, Melissa?
Even Jake. That would be cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah,
But I,
so cool.
yeah. And I think it would also be kind of fun if there was a Section 31 crossover with Lower Decks. That would be fun
Sure.
to see what Lower Decks would come up with as far as a Section 31 episode. But I like the idea of a Section 31 crossover with Deep Space Nine. But if whenever Deep Space Nine can be brought up, I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
So
Melissa, they kind of did a little something that hinted a possible lower decks Section 31 thing with Rutherford when he was.
Yes, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
they did.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but we don't know what that is, but it looks very much like it could be a Section 31 thing.
Pretty sus.
Yeah. And of course, we know that takes place right after Nemesis. So there's still some little rumblings happening on DS9, even though, you know, we know what happened in the finale and everything. So
that was pretty cool. That was like an
Mhm.
imaginary marionette you had going on right there. He was dancing like crazy.
That was the plan.
Also want to say that our buddy John Tufarella says, as long as Ash Tyler comes back, and Domestic wants to see Philippa Georgiou, of course. All right, we are nearing the end of this show, so it is time for everybody to say, Melissa, where can people find you online? What would you like people to type into their little browser box thing? What is that called?
Yeah, I guess a browser. Is there still going to be trivia?
Yes.
Cool. So
it's right here on the ready.
Woo. So you can find me at Walking Art Made by Melissa, on Twitter, Melissa Longo, on Instagram, Melissa Longo, on the YouTube. I think it's Melissa Longo. It might be Three Fat Lobsters too.
Better be.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that taken already?
Yeah, so Melissa Longo on the social media. On the 7th rule, go support the Indiegogo. We've got until Friday. And then virtual TrekCon, TMV, woo, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Cool. Rico, where can people find you?
You can find me at the Big Fat Lobster Part 2 at Gmail. No. Don't look for me there. I am Rico Anderson on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. RicoAnderson.com. And if I can just do one quick shout out and announcement today, it was announced that the show that I'm on, Truth Be Told, has been renewed for a 3rd season.
A 3rd Fat Lobster.
A 3rd Fat Lobster season.
Congratulations. Wow, that's
third.
awesome.
Yeah, so we're renewed for season 3. So if you haven't already, go to Apple TV Plus if you have it, and catch season 1 and 2 of Apple TV Plus's Truth Be Told. Also, if you happen to catch SWAT last week, you saw a little cameo from yours truly as young Daniel in picture form.
Very nice.
But I'm there. So there you go.
Rico and David Lim reunited again.
Yes, sir.
Together again. Scott Baker, What do you got?
I'm at 7235 Hollywood Boulevard.
Wait,
where you can
is
find
that
me
really
most of
it?
I know.
Oh, you're in trouble
more
now.
places.
I want to check my phone and see if that's really the right one.
And on Instagram, it's Mr. Scotty Baker. And, Scott Baker on Facebook, but there's probably like a million Scott Bakers. It's a pretty popular name, but you can find me there. Mr. Scotty Baker on Twitter, but I never use Twitter. So, and then there's all the Fifth Passenger ones too, as well. But those we're not so active on those as much anymore either. So Instagram is the one I use most. Yeah.
Scotty loves Instagram. Everybody, you can find me. Just Google Ryan T. Husk and whatever you want to click on, Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or something like that. Whatever. Just maybe. Why not?
Our account is still active, by the way.
Whatever. Yeah, it's all still there. All right.
Still there.
Here we go. It's the Star Trek Day trivia question of the day. Now, I did peek real quick. Oh, and also find me on the 7th Rule, everybody, in Virtual TrekCon right here, and Falling Tower, of course. Falling Tower, check those out, please. This is an easy one, everybody. You guys don't answer. Let everybody else in the chat answer this one, because it's pretty doable. Question: what is the name of Picard's pit bull? Is it A, number 1? Is it B, Locutus? Is it C, Earl Grey? Or is it D, Farpoint? Those are great names.
Yeah, those are great answers. Nice.
Okay. What is the name of Picard's pit bull? Number 1, Locutus, Earl Grey, or Farpoint? I can't say far. How does he say Farpoint? Farpoint? Yeah, Farpoint.
Well, I mean, way to face your demons if he actually, if the answer turns out to be Locutus.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah. Locutie. Okay, so we do want to say this week's upcoming fun. Yesterday, the 7th Rule just premiered the full episode of the review of Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 1, A Time to Stand, with special guest Discovery's Noah Averback Katz, also known as AKA Noah AK. I like that, AKA Noah AK. So check that out. That is live right now. You can watch that anytime on the 7th Rule. You can find that in the description box below. Also, this coming Thursday, the 7th Rule will be reviewing the brand new Star Trek Discovery episode that premieres at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Check that out. That's going to be episode 4 of season 4. Then on Sundays, there's the Sunday mini-con. The Virtual TrekCon 2 video will be Armin Shimmerman talking about writing in a group of videos we like to call Jake Sisko on writing. Cool. Because it's good stuff there. Armin's got some great insights there. We will also have a live panel by our good friends, the Sci-Fi Sisters. No R's, no E's. Sisters. And Falling Towers episode that they will be premiering, I guess I could say we will be premiering on Sunday as part of the mini-con, will be the first episode of Cowboy Bebop with Rico E. Anderson as the special guest co-host and Vera Vanguard as the special guest. So check that out, the new not animated Netflix series, Cowboy Bebop. And then next Tuesday is the main viewer. All right, here's the answer. You guys know the answer, right?
Locutus.
What's the answer?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, thank God. It's number 1.
Number 1.
That everybody knew in the live chat. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is number 1. So thank you guys for joining in the fun. Scott, you are leaving town on a gig. Where are you going again?
Vegas, everybody's favorite. In the morning, driving out to Vegas for like a week. So Galacon. I don't know what Galacon is. Does anybody know what Galacon is? Maybe somebody in the chat can tell me.
No.
Galacon. I don't know.
Do you have a table and all that jazz?
No. I'm doing camera for it.
Nice.
I guess I should have looked it up before I took it. But
you're a pro. You just do whatever.
I just try to show up and point the camera at things.
Get that camera out of my face.
Maybe it's not Gallicon. Gallicon 2021. This is on this point. I don't know. I thought it was Gallicon. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. They booked me.
I'm
They told me
sorry
to
I
come out.
asked. Jeez. All right. And thanks, Rico. Good time this weekend. Melissa,
Thank you.
Scott,
Good.
everybody. Great time. Everybody at home, please make sure you are subscribed to this channel. I should have said that 90 minutes ago. So sue me. Give this video a like. Ah, son of a, and see you later. Okay.
One last thing. I'm going to be on Be Positive, the TV show Be Positive, in 2 days, Thursday. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Catch it if you can. Catch my cameo.
Cool.
There you
That's
go.
very
All right.
cool.
Sorry, didn't mean to
that's
cut down.
That's a good
But-
cutoff right there.
Throw that out.
That is a good one.
We'll edit that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. It's time to eat dinner. And remember, if you are hungry and want to talk about Nichelle Nichols and want to talk about The Fifth Passenger without the article, put it on the main viewer.
Mhm.
Okay,
We really
we
need
did it.